Hello students, we'll take up the LAMP technology today. Since you're new to this, you may be wondering what is LAMP technology. So actually it is nothing but a combination of everything. Or why do we say this as a LAMP technology? Students, you need to understand here it is not any of the programming languages you have studied so far, or it is not a kind of architecture or the similar related things that you have studied in previous subjects. Here, when we say it as a LAMP technology, it is nothing but a combination of all this. Like, for example, you need to build a website. What are the basic things that you require if it has to be an even at least a simple full-fledged website? You need to have a programming language to program it. You need to have a database for it. You need to have the technology on what operating system that runs, and you should have also a front end or a back end as a one more language. And there you can go on adding many things, but these are like the basic that you need for a website to run. So we actually have a different platforms, or whatever the technology we have today, we can use it and do our own website. So there is no restrictions for that. But if you want to do it in a very minimal cost, or which is such that you can access it easily, it is easy to maintain, it is cost effective, then we go for this LAMP technology. So what are the things in this LAMP technology? Actually, LAMP, it stands for Linux, Apache, MySQL and PHP. And see, there are also not only these things, like these are like example, like L is for Linux. You can also use the Unix, and you have Apache for a database. You can use MySQL or whatever the databases that are available for you, or what is actually currently in trend. And PHP, it can be one more language, or you can also use Perl. So nowadays they also use a Python for this. So it can stand for anything, but basically it's a combination of these things. So that is what LAMP stands for. So what is it actually? It is a shorthand term for a web application platform consisting of Linux, Apache, MySQL and one of the Perl or PHP. It can be anything. So as I told you, it's cost effective. That is, you want to build something on a single platform, you don't have to convert it into other versions or variables that are available in the market. So it is an open source in the sense, it is very free to use. Like you may have to pay a very little or none at all for the basic options that are available in this. So together, these open source tools provide a world-class platform for deploying web applications. So mainly it is used to develop web applications. So the technologies used in LAMP are, first thing is Linux. So it is more similar, or one of the operating system that is similar to this is Unix. And what are the features of Unix, or also you have studied even Linux in your previous semesters. So you know what actually a Linux is. So the core of the system is a Linux kernel in this, and above that or on top of that there is a Linux distribution, which will usually utilize many tools from the free software foundation. So this is about Linux. Next is the Apache. So what is it? It is actually a web server. That is the most popular one. That is actually an open source again, that is free to use. And these are, there are certain features for this, like it is a robust and well documented multi-threaded web server, and it also supports for non-Unix systems, because when you develop a web application, you may not just run in Unix systems, you may develop in some other systems also. So it is actually supports any of the systems. Then it can run on a large number of hardware and software platforms. So taking some of the advantages of the technologies available, this total thing has been done, or the technology has come up with the total facilities that are available in this. Next is a MySQL. You have already worked in this, so you know it is a fast, flexible, relational database, and why it is used, how it is used. You know, you have done the programming in this, how to work in this, so you know what is MySQL. So this MySQL also is used in this LAMP technology. Next is PHP. It is, you can say, one of the most popular scripting language. Actually, it's for dynamic web based application. You know what is meant by dynamic web applications or dynamic web based applications? It's nothing but it takes the real time values, or it keeps on changing. So it is easy to get started, and it is, you, even though it is complicated, and it has a purpose in it, that it is easily useful, or it can be easily used by the users. So in lab PHP, that P stands for PHP, and it can also be used other than, like, it can be used along with the PHP as Perl, and nowadays they use Python in this. So making the combination of all these things, a platform is created, a technology is created, and this we call it as a LAMP. So we'll see all these things individually. So first one thing is the Linux distributions. So you know how a Linux is installed, right? It is actually a free open source software that we get. So you will either get by a CD, or you can download it from the internet. And sometimes they charge minimal for this operating system, or else it is easily available in the net and you can operate in this. In Linux distributions, it is not only one distribution that you have, there are many kinds. The first one is Debian. So these, each distribution has its own facilities that is giving to its users. Like, it is developed, and this Debian is developed and maintained entirely by volunteers. Well, in the sense, since this source is open source, anybody can edit it, and the thing is, you get the main version of it, and you want to personalize this, you can also work on this and make it your own. Like, whatever the extra things, add-ons you need on this, you can add it yourself, and you can develop it. And mostly it is maintained by the volunteers. And this, since the volunteers are working, they are doing it with their intention to improve this, so it will be always updated, and it is the easiest distribution, because they are not doing this for a, they are using this for a cost effective purpose. So they give you freely, and they also keep it updated, and it's a very powerful tool. And there is a mechanism that can handle dependencies neatly. So this is Debian. There is one more called as Red Hat. It's a feature and application rich and easy for new Linux users. See, if you're new to Linux and you don't know how actually to use this, they recommend this Red Hat version. So again, it is created by Red Hat Package Manager, that is RPM system, and it is similar to other apt that keep the software up to date, which is again used by many distributions. Next is the Slackware. It is used by many hardcore Linux users. Like, see, if you're a very pro in your Linux, and you need a very good, the commands, or a very good working in the system, then the Slackware version of Linux can be used. It is user friendly, and it is similar to your other Linux distributions, but if you are very expert in your Linux, this version of Linux can be used. Next one is SUSE. It is pronounced in very different ways around the world. So it uses a variant of the RPM package that we have seen before, and includes a sophisticated system configuration tool called YAST, that is yet another setup tool to make administration easier. Next is the Mandrake. It has a reputation for being easy to use, easy to install, and cutting edge. That is, what whatever you require, you can just have it in this Mandrake. And apart from this, there are also Immunex, a distribution based on Red Hat, which is actually having a very good security in it. And next is there is also an NSA, that is a secure version of Linux. So these are the various Linux distributions available, and you can use any of them to work in the LAMP technology.